Director and Chairperson of the Remuneration Committee of Human Resources on the board of PACON. She also is the Executive Director of Topmost Investments. And so, like I said, without further ado, I want to invite our esteemed speaker and ask her to take the stage, Evelyn Shilamba. Thank you very much for being here at the center. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lemon. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to meet with you all. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. I'm sure you have all experienced Namibia and its diversity. How long have you been here?
3 months.
Ah, quite interesting. So how do you find the heat? This is the severest drought that we are experiencing in years. It's really hot for all of us too. As you can see, there is nothing green. It's even tough for the animals, for people. There are really people suffering because of this. And government has called on the international community to support, and many has really come on board because it's beyond human nature and human power. So at some point, government even asked employees to make a contribution of their own, because it says charity starts at home, right? So thank you very much. As Lemon has said, my name is Evelyn Shilamba. I'm a board member of the Pan-African Center of Namibia. And this, we are going to have a discussion. It's not me talking and, you just listening. I'm sure you have probably picked up that Namibia and South Africa share more or less the same history, and that's due to the fact that Namibia was colonized by South Africa for quite a number of years, and we only gained our independence in 1991. So we will be about 30 next year, because our independence is on the 21st of March. That being said, the topic that he wanted me to talk on is really about the issue of Pan-Africanism, the church, and mostly, I'm sure you being your first experience probably in Africa, all you hear is about these tribal issues, the ethnicity issues, which is some of you, if you are studying history or you would be interested in knowing what is happening in Africa, just around the 92, 94, the horrible event of Rwanda, that almost wiped out the whole. If it was Namibia, will be about 1 to 3 people by now, because as you know, we are only about 2.4. So if you can imagine 1 million of Namibians were killed during that period, it would, some of us won't be here even. So the issue of the ideology of Pan-Africanism is really just to create unity for people of African descent, but there are also people who relate and they say, we are all from Africa. I was watching an interesting video of a white lady who said, I'm an African because we are all from there, and which is true. Those who are studying archaeology say life started from Africa. So when people start migrating about 700 years ago, I was just reading something interesting that it actually started right here, somewhere between Namibia and Botswana. There is a river that seems to have been the cadre of life, and about 700 years ago. So, and if we talk about the church is a building, if I might say, but for our purpose, we will refer to it as a ministry. A ministry is it's a God-given gift that pushes someone to create a movement that care and unite people within a community, and sometimes even beyond. So we will, if you look at the Pan-Africanism ideology and the church, we are all doing the same, because the church fight for social justice. And the same with the Pan-Africanism is that are people who are just trying to find that love and care and unity for people, and the history of the Africans is that you all know that many horrible years ago, 400 years ago, many Africans were stolen by the evil people, and they sold them into slavery. They literally kidnapped them by force. People would have gone to look for firewood and they never come back. And it was then later that people realized that, hey, there are evil people in here with guns. We don't know who they are. They look very weird. They are not of our color. And when they get hold of our people, they tie them up and they ship them in the, you know. So that kind of history is what then brought up the ideology of Pan-Africanism to say, we need to find each other. We need to have a common voice. And it's not against anyone. It's rather just for people to understand that we are all one. I was reading a good history about one of the first African-American pilot, or what you call it, who fight for the French many years ago. He came from America and he went there because he was told, you know what, America does not recognize black people, but in France, we are all one. And he wrote on his plane saying, all blood runs red. So we are all one. There is no them and, you know, that comes to only when people want to distinguish themselves for their own evil agendas. Pan-Africanism ideology does not condemn white people as a group, but rather the one who want to continue enslave and dominate people. And if you look at the history of the Jews, the genocide of the Jews, it's those kind, because if we are not united as one people for one, as I say, social justice, we will not be wiped out by one evil person. And regardless of our race, regardless of our sex or gender or religion. So that's why there is such an importance of unity, and the ministries, which I will refer to as churches, have formed those community to provide for the needs of those who are in need, as we talk about care and love. And that's what we are all, one love. Now, here in Namibia, the church had played a very big role during the liberation struggle, because Namibia, through the ruling party, waged a war against the apartheid regime of South Africa to really bring up the independence. Yes, it took long. That's why they say the struggle was long and bitter, but the aim was independence. We needed this, where we are free, that we can all sit here and talk, we can move freely, because during the apartheid regime, people were divided in groups. You know, if you want to rule, to dominate people, you would say, divide and rule. If you say, he's Spanish, don't talk to him. You are British, stay on your side. Or you are black, stay on your side. Then you can control people. You are Indian, don't go there. Let them belong to there. So, but the person who's dividing people, he want to have control over everybody. And he want to do whatever he want with whoever he form, you know, such laws that only benefit him. So that's why it was very important for Namibia to get independent. And we thank God that we are here today. We can move freely, we can speak freely, because when you are not free, you have no freedom. You are literally just like a prisoner, somebody who have committed a crime which you haven't anyway. Only the horrible person who's dominating you knows what crime you have committed, but you are condemned anyway. So you have no right, no free movement, no freedom of association. You are restricted. Even freedom of education, of choice, you have no choice. There were no elections held in Namibia, so which it's one of those things when you talk about independence and freedom. What is it there? Why is it important for young people to understand issues of election, issues of democracy? Because I'm sure if we go back in history, you will realize that even in America, women were not allowed to vote for some time because men felt they are the rulers. And this thing came until one woman stood up and said, no, we must organize, this thing have to end. Women should have the right to go to school. They should have the right to choose what career they want to. They should have the right and freedom to go to work if they prefer to work, and not to be told by the men, no, this is not your place. So we have all come a long way as the human race to be where we are today. So we are grateful for the pioneers who have really taken up the struggle to make it good for all of us that we are here today and appreciate one another as human beings. So when you look at it, really, the church and the Pan-Africanism, they are all about unity. And what is unity? Unity is love. They can be no, you cannot be united with somebody that you do not love, that you do not care for. There must be harmony. That's support. That's what unity is. And those are the objectives of the ministry. Those are the objectives of the church, the Pan-Africanism. And I'm sure it's an objective of even a family as a unity. As a family, you look for that place where you can feel loved, where you feel cared. And I'm sure as you are here, if anyone feel somehow not welcomed, loved, cared for, their academic career will go down. Not only by your parents, but as by your peers, because you are here, you are a family. So it's very important that as a human race, we all aspire to love, to care, and to really be united with one another, because we are all created in the image of God. Now, the vision of PACON, the Pan-African Center of Namibia, our vision is to be the leading information, development, and empowerment center that inculcates Pan-Africanism values on the African continent and the diaspora. And this is how we connect with my brother, Prof. Slater. And our mission is to advocate Pan-Africanism by collecting and disseminating information, as we are sharing this today, that depicts a progressive Africa, and to consciously inculcate Afro pride and spearhead the socio-economic development of Africa based on a disciplined foundation of commitment, integrity, and honesty. As a family, as a human being, you are starting to be leaders in your community, in your different community, in your nation. And no one can be a leader if you lack integrity. How would you lead those people that you aspire to, or they even look up to you? So that's why it's very important that we all aspire to acquire, because it's a character build. We all have choices. We are free agents, as they say. You either choose to be good or you choose to be evil. But it's better to be good, because evil never overcome good. So it's always good to be on the good side. The winning side is always the good one. And our organizational values is integrity, respect, togetherness, harmony, Afro pride, discipline, leadership, humanity, credibility. Now somebody always says, what does it mean by Afro pride? We should be proud of who we are, our culture, our values that make us human beings. I should be free to wear my hair the way God created it. Yes, the one who choose to use chemicals, it's also. But it should not be imposed on us to say, you are less of a human being, or you will be less a model if you wear your Afro dreads, or you wear your cushy hair like I do. If I choose to be a model, I should not be disqualified to be on that catwalk because I am apparently not wearing the modern. Who describe what is modern? It should be up to me to choose up to what level should modern be. The same way that we dress, we don't dress according to somebody else, but we dress according to what fits us, because God created us in our different images, you know, with our curves, with our heights being short, some being tall, but we should all be happy because we are all the glory of God. Jesus looks good on us because he lives in us. So that's very important to know that as a human being, we should all be proud of how God created us. That's what we describe as Afro pride. You know, our food, we have different type of food. If you travel Africa, you will be surprised what you find that we eat. We value those because it's nutritional, it's organic. That's the most important thing. And now you might find somebody who come and say, but this food, this is not. I only eat organic. Our food is organic. When we plow our field, we don't put chemicals there, except those who are doing commercial, you know, perhaps. But there are also those who say, this soil is that good. We use cattle manure rather than, you know, chemicals that could have different effects. And these are the things that we are trying to go back to and say, how did we come to be where we are? We didn't know any of these diseases called cancers. What is that we are doing wrong? It is in the way we process our food, whether it's the way we grow it, the way we preserve our food. There is just too many things at play. So in Africa, we used to have organic food. We go to the field and collect right away and put in the pot and cook and we eat. We didn't have fridges, but we have a way of preserving our food without having to use any other chemicals. So those are the things that we refer to when we talk about Afro pride. Now I talk about the 400 years of Africans stolen from Africa. You might have seen some movies and you have heard this. First, let me start off to say, these have broken families. I could have a sister that was stolen if I was at that age, and that person be taken away. Our link as a family is totally broken because we do not know anymore where is who. And as such, we become like lost people. It has taken away the freedom of people, the dignity of people, you know, those who have went through it, because it's like you are an object. They do whatever they wanted to do with you. And it's a very interesting story of a lady called Barmat from South Africa. She was taken, you know, with the Africans that we are created in different, I'm sure when you have moved around Namibia, we have seen that these people are all so different. Some are very huge, curvy, and, you know, God have created us in different dynamics. Now this lady, she was very tall, huge, with a very big, you know, curve. And the people who saw her, they just saw her as a decoration because they've never seen such beauty before. They paraded her, they put her on the shoes like the monkeys, as what you call the cannibals, traveling from wherever, you know, and at some point, they even used her as a sex slave. Whoever wanted to experience how does it feel to be with a woman with this kind of care, they did whatever. And somebody was being paid for that because you want to have your way with it, go experience it, man. There it is. So these are the kind of things that, this is a woman who was stolen from her community just to be used like that. And she died of sexual transmitted diseases because God knows everybody was just going and doing whatever they wanted. She was not a human being to feel She was just an object. I feel like having sex with you, so I go do it. Yeah? So, and this is exactly the modern enslaved that I will refer to. Prostitution. Young people are being used, especially from the African descent, they are being used to be prostitution. They are being trafficked to be put in, whether somebody lied to them and say, oh, you are from such a poor community, I'm going to pay for school for you so you have a better. But then when they get there, it will be a different story. Or even those who are in the Americas, because of the situation that they found themselves, because they are still very much disadvantaged, often they are used as drug mules. If you read how many young black women are arrested in Brazil for being drug, even Namibia, the number is high. It's alarming. And these are young people who just, their life is lost. So that is the modern enslaving that, and again, the ongoing killing of black men by the police force officers in the US. It's very disheartening. I was watching a video of a police officer who's very decent, who understands what it means to disarm an armed person. Because a person can have mental illness, a person can be suicidal, depression is one of those, and a lot of things can cause this. It could be unemployment or whatever, anything that can push somebody to the limit. He, being a well-trained officer and an army officer, he knew how to handle the situation. He was like, what is that you are holding behind? Put it down. He tried to talk to the guy. Try to address the situation according to the way it should be addressed as a human to human. But his colleague would have none of that. They came and they shot the guy, very young, about 21, young men, black men. They killed him right into the head. If somebody is carrying a gun, do you shoot in the head? Don't you shoot him maybe on the leg so he got down, then you come and disarm him? Or the hand that is holding a gun? Why the head? So these are the things that as young people, we should all look and analyze and say, is this really good? And I was watching a video recently of a young white lady who witnessed a killing of a black man who was just shot while he was being tied to the ground, and they are saying he had a gun. How can somebody have a gun yet you have already restrained him? How can you fear? And they shot him right in the back. Imagine shooting, you are a police officer and shooting somebody who's on the ground in the back. She couldn't hold it. She was like, this was so unnecessary. And these are the kind of things that if it might not affect you to say, I don't know the person who died, but the fact that you are witnessing these things, it traumatizes you. It will have an effect on you. And these are the kind of things that when we talk about social justice, we should all stand for what is good. Now, in Namibia, we are preparing for the elections. The issue of tribalism that I talked about earlier and the ethnicity, when you read in the news, the party which have liberated Namibia, which is called the Swapo Party, has ruled this country. And if we talk about the history of Namibia, this party knew what it wanted. From the time it went to fight against the African apartheid regime, it knew how to run a country. It has all the structures in place